So if you've made your interior walls in Revit to do something like base your grid lines off of, it might actually be a benefit to hide them, or what we really need to do are denote the openings in our floor plates and our structures so that we know where the sort of membrane of the floor ends and where we can put columns and beams to fill out those openings. I'm in a level 2 structure here. And you can do this in any plan, and we're going to use what's called a detail line. So if I go to annotate and I go to detail line, you can also do this with a model line, and the difference is that model lines appear in all views, but because we're using a particular structural view type where we can't see beyond 6 feet below the floor, I suggest just using the detail line and using something like a medium line here, which we can copy and paste from floor plan to floor plan because the openings probably won't change. So once I am in drawing these detail lines, this is basically drawing over your floor plan. So what I would do is find the corners of your grids, and we're going to denote these openings with X's. Now here I have 2 elevators that are sort of at the tail end of a stairwell, and it's up to you whether you want to denote this all as one opening or as 2 different openings. And I like to keep this as a different opening because I know there's going to be a wall here, but maybe here there doesn't have to be between the elevators. Now here we have 3 elevators next to each other, and I'm just going to draw a line over all of them, and so I know this is one sort of continuous opening. Again, with the stairs, I'm going from the corner of the grid rather than the corner of the walls. Let's just go ahead and do this to all of the openings here. The freight elevator at the back, and the last sort of stairwell. Now on places like a lobby, you might want to denote where your lobby ends and your lobby begins, and you can do this in a couple ways. You can do this by drawing an X over the lobby to basically indicate exactly where you think this will end. So there's actually no structure here, right? We know that this will be open, at least on the first floor. So I'm on a level 2 structure, which means there's not going to be any structure there. So here we can see that there doesn't need to be any structure, and I'm going to find this meeting of the grid points. And what that will allow me to do is quickly see where I need to put my structure, right, at these sort of corners, all of the corners of the openings. Now the last move I suggest before we go into building out our actual structure is to group or hide our interior walls, and this will allow for a little bit less confusion later on. So the interior walls are used to find these openings. Now I'm going to go ahead and select all of these walls on the interior. You can also drag over, control select the walls that you missed, shift select the walls that you don't want, and then go ahead and use the filter to just filter out the walls. And so now I've selected all of the interior walls, and all of the exterior walls are not selected. I'm going to go ahead and go to, in my Modify tab, I'm going to hit this Create Group. GP is the shortcut, and I'm going to call this Interior Walls. And what that will allow me to do is, in my project browser, I can see that I have a model of the interior walls, and that this is grouped. And for right now, we don't necessarily want to delete these walls, but we might not want to see them. And so I'm just going to select it and type HH, or right-click and hide and view this element. And so now we have a clean structural floor plan that we can base. We know where our envelope is. We have grids that are based on all of our structural elements, and we have openings and corners of these openings. So over here, this could all be one big X if that's what you want to do, but I can also see here that this would be 2 elevators, so I might need a wall there. And here I can see that these are elevators and this is a stair. So it's up to you whether you want to consider this all as sort of large interior volumes or denote them all separately. But you can see here the perimeter of this sort of opening is where we're going to have to put a lot of columns or beams and extra structure. One final note on these schematic plans. If we go to Annotate and go to Text, we can go ahead and explain what these openings are. So if we want to simplify this a lot, just go to annotate, text, and what I would recommend doing is changing this to 330 seconds Arial, and just dragging these onto the center. So we can copy these based on the center points where the elevators are. Let's copy that again. And then we'll copy this to the center point of the stairwell. And we'll just click in to edit this and type FS. Copy that. And copy that. And we can add a lobby one up here too. Let's move that over a little bit with the arrows. And there we go. Now we can see what all the openings are.